Hey guys, welcome to the BIS podcast, the podcast where we discuss Bionicle and essentially do an episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series, but have a little bit longer and in podcast form so that you guys can listen to it while you build and all that jazz. For this episode, we have a very special guest, our good friend Alieraah. How you doing, Alieraah?
Hello. I am doing pretty well. How are you?
That's good. That's really good to hear. Because every time in the gearbox, you're always like, nah, like I haven't slept enough, or like, nah, school or whatever. Good to hear that you're good. That's fantastic. But you asked how I am. I'm also pretty good. That's yeah,
Oh, look at that. Everyone's doing well
yeah,
for once.
yeah. And I mean, I saw Infinity War yesterday. I shouldn't be good. I'm dying inside from what happened. So there you go. I will spoil nothing. Don't worry. Anyway, so this episode, we're actually no, Alieraah, tell us a bit about yourself for those of you who don't know who you are. What you've been up to, how you doing. I already asked how you doing. You know what
Oh goodness. I don't know. I'm just some new person on the internet who likes to post Lego builds like everybody else.
Good.
I mean, that's really my entire online persona right there. I'm just some random Joe Schmo that got plucked off the side of the street.
I love this idea that like Flickr comes patrolling down the streets and there's this bum on the street and they're like, you post a Bionicle
They're like,
online, and
you,
you're like,
we
oh.
pick you.
Exactly. Good, good. Nice to hear. Um, anyway, shall we just get like straight into it with reviewing the three mocks we've got?
Yeah, might as well.
Sweet. Let's start with Endeavor because that's your mock. Tell us a
Yes.
bit about this guy.
This guy, it's a big dragon boy. That's what this guy is.
Yeah.
Um, it was a concept that I had made way back in like 2009 or something for the first time, and I decided to revive it recently. And by recently, I mean over a year ago now.
Damn.
But he turned out to be one of, if not my most popular mock to date. So that's kind of why I picked him. He's got two magazine features now, and I think he was on Brothers Brick at one point, so I don't know. He's pretty well known, but yeah, I don't know. He's my big dragon boy, and I don't think I'm ever gonna take him apart.
That's hell cool. He's been in two magazines. Which magazines were those?
Yeah, he was in Blocks magazine, just a small picture of him and my Flickr handle, and then he was featured in an article in the Brick Journal.
Oh, sick. Oh, that's hell cool. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I can't say that about anything else I've made, so I am a bit proud of that.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. Oh yeah, I mentioned I put Endeavor in a past episode, didn't I? I was looking at this, I'm like, well, I don't feel like I've talked about this before. I love the Galador staff so much. That's such a nice
Yes.
addition. Like,
Yeah, because the original I used that on as well.
huh?
So I felt like I had to keep it, even though it's kind of small for the newer build. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a little throwback.
Hmm. No, I mean,
Definitely one of my larger projects for sure.
yeah. But I mean, like, I don't even think the fact that the staff is small is like a problem. Yeah, I think I don't know. There's something about like the fact that it looks ornate, and I mean, like everything that's Galador looks like not that Lego like. So I don't know. I think that actually works really well. I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the fact that you've managed to make these like small wings fit so well with all the Bionicle parts, because like I don't know, Bionicle has such a different texture to that, or however the hell you describe the texture on those wings. Pardon me. And yeah, I don't know, that it just flows so. Why did I eat peanuts before? It's stuck in my throat. Anyway, I don't know, the textures flow so nicely together. There's such a smooth, like beautiful transition between the two, and I think that's such a I don't know, I think that's so cool.
You think so? Because oddly enough, that's probably one of the more common critiques that I did get on this mock was that the textures were essentially all over the place, wings included. A lot of people commented saying that he would have looked much nicer if I had built him out of system. Of course, that's all down to personal preference, but
Yeah, interesting.
um, I don't know. Between the staff and the wings, I do feel like they're both a little bit small for a scale, but at the same time, I kind of don't care.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, that's good though. It's good that you're not like you're happy with it, and so you don't need to like change it because what other people think.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
mean, he's a super big project of mine, and he's definitely not perfect. There are a lot of issues with the mock, and like I said, it always comes down to personal taste on whether or not you prefer the more agreeably kind of technicky build that he is, or something smoothed out with system and CCBS, or whether or not you think the wings are too big or too small or whatever. That's all just kind of a personal preference thing. But yeah, I put a couple of months worth of time into this guy and several Bricklink orders, so I don't know. I mean, he got featured somewhere, so that's gotta amount to something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I can see what you mean about the textures being different and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, it's Bionicle. There's so many like I mentioned this in the last podcast. Yeah, I mentioned this in the last podcast how like at conventions, like system builders and Bionicle builders, not that they don't get along, but at least there's this kind of discrepancy because it's like I don't understand this. Um,
Right.
and I, I guess like just the way Bionicle like lends itself, it does have a more naturally kind of not really agreeable, but like kind of detailed look to it. I mean, CCBS is a bit different, but I think that the way that you've incorporated like some there's a couple like system play tiles on his legs there, or just sort of like putting Nuva shoulders over stuff, or like finding the little areas to get that additional smoothness. I think, and I mean, I guess this is just why I like it, is that there is that element of like it's obvious that it's Bionicle, but the smoothness still transitions. Man, I'm not explaining this well. Do you understand? Do you understand what I mean?
No, no, I think I get where you're coming from there. Yeah. I don't know. I've always just been more of a fan of the kind of old style Bionicle aesthetic, so that's just me and my preference there.
Yes, I think that's what I was trying to say. Good, good. I think that's what I meant was like that there is this Bionicle vibe to it and that old style flair, but it transitions really nicely into this kind of new, smoother aesthetic that everyone seems to kind of aim for these days. And so I think that like it pulls on nostalgia strings or something. I don't know. It's really cool.
He's like a happy middle ground, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mentioned this in the last when he was on an episode of Biss. That was like episode 7 or something. It was ages ago. But I love the photo where there's just those cool like orc flags behind him. Uh,
Yes.
I don't know, that adds so much personality and that's so cool. Was that just like a kind of afterthought, or what made you want to build those?
It kind of was a bit of an afterthought, not gonna lie. It's just, I made this rather large, at least for my usual builds, rather imposing looking guy, and he was just kind of sitting there by himself, and I'm like, it would make him look just ever so slightly more badass if he had like some kind of banners behind or something. It kind of gives him this vibe of like, I am in charge, I am the ruler here, like, fear me.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I just kind of threw those together quick because I had the pieces, and I'm like, yeah, I'll stick them there behind him, and maybe it'll work, and maybe it won't, and yeah, I think it works out.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's really cool. I don't know. It's been a year later and I'm still like, oh, that's so cool. So, yeah. Yeah. How much has this guy changed? Because I'll be honest, I haven't seen earlier versions. How has it progressed and evolved? Because obviously there's a lot of like nostalgia or like sentimental value behind the character, and that's so cool. It's cool that you've been able to evolve it as you have evolved as a builder. So how is it? How has it changed? Has it been like quite major changes, or is it more just sort of aesthetic changes?
I can actually just pull up a Flickr album for you of him from 2015, which was the previous version to this one, the
Ah, there you go.
predecessor. He's changed quite a bit.
Okay.
Much larger, kind of dropped the mainly black color scheme. The head completely different. He's got way
Oh
better
well.
proportions now. There's just a lot of things different here.
Yeah. What made you want to take away all the black? Like it. I'm not to discredit the new version, but like that's just interesting.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, because
Hmm.
whenever I started building the newer version, I went in with the intention of keeping the black in there, and then it just kind of didn't work out in the end. I mean, it looked kind of messy, I guess. I guess I just wasn't sure how to incorporate it along with everything else effectively.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Yeah,
I
wow.
don't know. I mean, I will say that the previous version was a bit more durable in terms of it being more of an action figure and less of a fancy looking guy. But
Okay, yep. Do you prefer to build in that sort of more, like Brendan always words it like, he likes to build, I think a little less nowadays, but he always said like I like to build like an action figure. Like this thing can pose, this thing can move, and like it's relatively like stable and
yeah,
sturdy.
he's very adamant about that, and
Mm,
I do agree with you. I think he's been a little less on that horse lately, but no, I'm with him in that boat. While more sculpture looking mocks can look very nice, um, I do prefer the more posable, more action figure type mocks, just solely based on the fact that Bionicle as a theme was based around it being an action figure and it being able to move,
yeah,
but also because being able to move your creation around does add that flair of personality and whatnot to it.
yeah, yeah. I totally
Also,
agree
it
with
can
you on
just
that.
make like a fun desk toy sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. That's cool. That's cool. I actually really like that old leg design, that not leg, foot design that you have with the claws, with the like Motoro big claw. Oh, that's
yeah,
really
like
cool.
the sort of raptor feet.
Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
that said
Yeah, I
though,
don't know. I
like,
mean, maybe one of these days I'll get around to changing them up again, and who knows, maybe there'll be a return of the raptor feet.
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Um, any final thoughts on Endeavor? I feel like I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I mean, I feel kind of weird talking about my own mock like this. Not gonna lie, I'm not a reviewer like Brendan is. I don't do this normally. He's just a little nostalgic guy for me, and he's gotten a lot of attention, so I figured he'd be a decent one to talk about.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
But I
cool.
do like him.
Yeah, awesome. Shall we move on to the other mock that you picked? Because that guy's cool.
Yeah, sure.
So normally I say the names of the mock and the builder, but I don't know how to do that this time. Um, Hal Cavallo, I guess is his name. Don't know the name
Yeah,
of the mock though.
I would guess probably Halka Bio. And if you hit the translate button on the page, I mean, obviously that's not going to be verbatim perfect or anything, but
Yeah,
it looks like his name is Flax.
Flax. All right, there you go. This is Flax.
So I don't know, but also based on the translate, it seems that he is a like a cyborg samurai guy. So there we go. We got Flax the cyborg samurai guy.
Sweet. So we were talking about this just before we started about how, because I was like, man, I need to join Twitter because for whatever reason, there's all these incredible builders on there that just don't post anywhere else. And yeah, it's just cool to see this sort of, I don't know, I don't even know how I would describe it, but they have this particular style to them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very sort of unique style. Like you
Mm,
can always point out one of these builders as soon as you see their mock just based on this style. You don't see it anywhere else. I don't know. And I'm not sure if that's because there's this large community of Japanese based builders on Twitter and nowhere else, and they've just kind of been, I don't want to say festering, but like just kind of sitting within their own little community there, and they've all been influencing each other, and that's what gave rise to this type of build. I don't know, but
yeah, yeah.
it's very unique, and I quite like it for that reason. It just stands out from everyone else.
Mm. There's these shots that I'm looking at now, and like it's incredible. Like the early shots of him just sort of standing up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I don't know, I didn't even think about posability. But then there's this super realistic shot of him just like crouching, and the I don't know the posability on this and the level of detail and stuff that it has. It's like, wow, that like, oh, that's
Yeah,
so
the
cool.
combination of the scale, the detail, and the insane posability, it's just like, it's amazing. It makes you wonder how these people come up with this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even just looking at like there's this one shot he's like screaming on the floor. And like it's a great shot. And you can kind of see his knees and like he's got this weird like it's not really double jointed, but like there's two sockets going into the two balls
Yeah,
and
there
like
is.
it's I don't know, like it kind of reminds me a bit of like what Witch Doctor had going on. I don't know. That's incredible. Like I'm just trying to
Yeah,
like.
and that's a technique you see a lot on the mocks in this particular community too, is that particular knee joint you're talking about there. I see that so often here on Twitter. It's really a great idea if you can implement it correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the little slight thing that he's got where it's just those two. They're not really tube pieces. I never know what to call those parts. But like on the shoulder, like he's got that kind of tube thing going over.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's like simple but really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the proportions on this thing. I love how it can move. I just love the aesthetic of it. I don't know, it's just super freaking cool, and especially with the added material and the like bonus armor and stuff. It just I don't know. I love this guy. I'd want one for myself, but I don't know how to build that good. So
Yeah, yeah, right. Man. Even just like what you were saying, like the bonus armor and the cloth and stuff. That's so cool how just a slight little addition like that can make it something so much cooler. Like for example, I'm talking about a system in the Bionicle Inspiration series again. Um, but I built something recently that it's a mock that I've had for maybe like I don't know 5 years now, and like it's always been built and I've always looked at it and whatever. And more recently, it's kind of just been like, like it was cool 5 years ago. Now it's just like, oh yeah, there's that thing I built a while ago, or like, could you update it or whatever. And then I didn't change a huge amount about it, but I put in. I was trying not to spoil it, but I guess I will. It's an old castle diorama I built, and like the main sort of like city behind like the castle wall was sort of older, so I sort of revamped it and changed it a lot. And now it's just like, this is so much cooler. And like, I didn't make a massive change or whatever, but just like that, adding in just a cloth piece and then sort of like not really quickly built because it's nicely designed, but just simple little like kind of jet things at the back and a really awesome sword. Like I don't know, that invigorates the mock so much, and like it makes me think like, well, what about my really old mocks that I don't want to change because I like how they're built or whatever? I could just add that little additional something and give it life once again. I think that's I don't know, it's really cool.
yeah, because the mock itself without the additions is already pretty cool looking, but it pales in comparison to the fully decked out version.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
makes it
totally.
look plain. So yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from though.
Mm.
That's the same reason why I'm so frequently revisiting some of my builds, some more than others. It's because, you after a while you look at it and you're thinking, well, I can do better. I can make this look nicer, and you just kind of tinker around with it, and then bam, you got yourself a revamp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so cool. It's interesting as well how there's no like trans blue on the mock, but then the mask, has that little bit on there, and like my, my like inner censor is just like, no, like it has to have trans blue. That's incorrect.
Well, I
Um,
mean, there is some if you looked at the fully clothed version there. There's some in the swords and there's some in like the shoulder extension things there.
yeah, good point. That's true. But that said, though, like I don't care that there's not a huge amount of it. I actually think that works really well. I like that there is just that little hint of it on the mask, and that's kind of it. Like it still
Yeah.
works. It's still really cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it works as like a little accent color.
Exactly. It's even interesting. Like I just kind of noticed, like looking at the thighs. There's the Rachi foot, which kind of has like kind of in the middle of it. It kind of has that like three, like almost like a grill, does like kind of texture. And then you look
Hmm.
at the piece above it that was those armor pieces all over sexy Kupaka. Um, and bringing him back. And it's kind of got that same like grill thing in the middle of that as well. And that's interesting how there's like little slight textures like that match, and that like that whole leg flows so nicely because of that. Like that looks like an extension of that
Yeah,
part. It's
it
really
does.
cool.
It's mostly old like G1 Bionicle pieces too, and yet
Yeah.
it totally works.
It's also interesting, like just what we were talking about before, about like textures and how there is that, like if you mainly use Bionicle parts, there is that really distinct texture and vibe that it has, which is a little more kind of like detailed. It's interesting, like you said, this is mainly it has a lot of Bionicle parts on it, but then it doesn't have that same look to it to a degree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure how much system is in this thing. It doesn't look like there's terribly a lot of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It looks to be mainly construction or technic in general, but just I don't know, man. There's some kind of genius behind these builders, I swear.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I just got what the torso is doing. Do you see how he's put those like gory feet in the middle there, and then like put the hands like on the fingers on like the connector parts, and it kind of makes like that rib cage thing. They're so cool.
Oh, I didn't even notice the Agori feet before.
Yeah,
Whoa, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Definitely some kind of genius going on here. Wow.
yeah. That's so cool. Wow.
I didn't even. I'm the one who picked out the maka. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I
Damn.
I did this with Monath when we did a podcast. We were talking about one of Moko, one of Moko's mocks, and we were just studying it for like half
Yeah,
the time we were
Moko is
talking
a
about it.
freaking
Like,
legend.
yeah, yeah. And it's so cool how you can do that with some of his mocks where it's like, yeah, I've seen this 20 times, but yet again, I'm noticing something cool about it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's really incredible with him too because you can stare at his build so intently for hours and you still won't know how he did it.
Exactly. Exactly, yeah. I'm not sure, like, again, I love the cape thing, but part of me's like, has he got baggy shorts? Like, is that what it is? Or...
Well, I mean, it adds to the samurai vibe, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's true, actually.
Like,
That's a good point.
considering he's supposed to be some kind of samurai looking dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think so too. Any other thoughts on that? Shall we move on?
No, I think we should move on to your guy.
Yeah. Here's my guy, which is not my guy. It's by Anthony Wilson. It's called Butterfly Plague Mech Sigma. Um, oh yeah. So okay, this is from Jafer's Plague Mech contest, which I have no idea if that's still going on. I mean, this mock was only posted like a couple days ago, so I assume that it is. But there you go, another contest to join. I just Google Jafer's Plague Mock contest. I'm sure you'll find something. Yeah. If not, I'm sure Jafer will see this episode. Plug your contest. I give you full permission. Anyway, um, first off, the minute I saw this, I have this really cool person who messages me all the time on Instagram. Katie's Mocks, I think her name is. She all the time. I'll just wake up and then suddenly there'll be a message and they'll be like, "Check out this really cool mock," and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!" And like sometimes I've seen it, but I still don't care. I'm just like, "Yeah, thanks for sending it to me. Like, it's cool to see it again." But I woke up and this was the first thing they sent. And they were like, "I'm screaming! These wings are incredible!" And I was like, "What?" I was like half asleep because I just woke up. I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Whoa!" Um, the simplicity of these wings as just flex tube, but then adding in these cool like gold greebles with the minifigure cups, like genius. It looks incredible.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
if you ask me, the wings is really what makes this mock. Um,
yeah,
those wings are not only genius, but they look amazing.
yeah. And like on top of that, it's incredible how simple they are. And like that's not a critique. Like like I mean I think about it all the time, and I'm sure other people do. Where it's that thing of like, okay, I need to build something super ingenious and revolutionary, and I need to be amazing, and so like you overcomplicate the crap out of it, and then you can get nowhere because I don't know, you're trying too hard or whatever. But this like, man, it's literally just like I said, it's just flex tube and a couple like other rod parts and clickets and whatever. Like it's not that hard. It's not that difficult, but it still looks incredible.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and I think
yeah.
that's
The
such a
the
credit to
wings
him.
are totally gorgeous. Honestly,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's
But
simple, yeah, but in terms of people coming up with this, like you wouldn't expect it, and now it's like everybody's probably staring at it, kicking themselves in the ass, like, wow, this is so simple. Why didn't I think of that?
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of simple, I love the arms on this mock as well. I think I mentioned this before in that Patrick podcast that I did, like how he was saying like, so he always likes to aim for simple. I really love that he just made like the top of that arm just those like beam connectory things and then a ball joint in there. Like that being slim like that, it just it just works. Like it looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean, the arms I'm kind of just meh on. I mean, they're simple. There's nothing totally outstanding about it. It definitely works, but
Mm.
I don't know, man. I feel like most of this mock freaking just pales in comparison to those wings. Like I
Yeah,
just
right.
keep going back to the wings. Like, wow, this is definitely the showstopper over here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I do think though that the way that the lower legs are done.
Mm,
That's a really cool technique there.
I always love seeing people do that kind of boat stud technique-y thing, um, which I tried once, and man, that can be flimsy depending on how you do it. But
Oh
it's
yeah, I
awesome. It's
bet.
awesome the effect that it makes and how well it flows with like CCBS armor and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it totally works here though.
I love as well, and probably because I lack system so much, but I love the stand that this has. And Anthony actually builds really incredible stands all the time. Just the simplicity of how those clear Technic beams, flow into that, as well as just like it just forms this cool like hexagonal shape, and that's not too difficult to. That's not grammar. What? That's not too. It's simple. Again, it's simple, but it works. So yeah.
Right, right. And I do feel like that's kind of the sort of revolutionary style of mocking that has been taking over in the community lately is this sort of strive to be simple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You are seeing it more and more with builders lately, this kind of style cropping up and the value of placing simplicity and aesthetic um, over like what we were just looking at with the Japanese mock with the intense greebles and the insane amounts of posability. You know, it's like the
Yeah.
complete opposite end of the scale, but both of them totally work in their own right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And even kind of another aspect of that is how like looking at all of the is that no, that's not Azure. What color is the gully?
Isn't that medium blue or
I
something?
think so.
Or
Ooh.
it might be Azure. I honestly don't know what it's called.
Yeah, oh gosh.
I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's the blue that came on that one Golly set. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Yeah. Whatever that blue is. It's cool how like literally that's only two variations of CCBS armor, the gully mask and then that one system like dish thing. And how that actually takes up a lot of that color scheme, but like you're not using a huge amount in that regard. And then adding that little highlight with a system part in the same color, like I don't know, it again makes it pop. And I see people doing that a lot where they'll be able to use really insane colors and then like that exist in a CCBS, shell or whatever, and then add in a couple additional system parts. And that kind of really makes it pop and add something really unique to it. Yeah, I feel like people are leading more towards that, and I guess it's just because we don't get access to a lot of new CCBS colors and parts and stuff. But yeah, like highlighting stuff with system has been such an additional like revolution in that. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. I also do think that the that shade of blue and the trans pink goes very well
Yeah,
together.
right. Totally.
Like that works surprisingly well.
I don't know what else to say. I love it so much. It's great.
Getting all the praise from
Yeah,
Ben.
man. Yeah. I guess we finished there with Anthony's mock. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one still knows what a plague mech is, but sure.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say the contest is like plague mechs versus other kind of guys. Man, I should know this, but I don't. But yeah, something like that. I don't know. Again,
Beats me.
Google it, you'll figure it out. All right, so that is all three mocks that we are going to be talking about in this episode. Traditionally, I ask Molly a few questions, but we organized this quite late, and I didn't give her any prep time. So instead, what we missed out on last time, we'll catch up on this time, which is questions from the audience. So, you ready? You ready to get stuck in? You ready to answer some questions, Molly?
Oh gosh, you're getting aggressive with me, Ben. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel a little uncomfortable.
I'm done. The podcast is over. I'm sick of your shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go run away and hide under my desk now.
All right, then we'll start. We'll go very nice, very calm. I don't know why that was like calm British mouse, but there you go. So the first question is from our boy Monarch, and he asks, "What kind of part would you like to see Lego release in the future?"
Can I sort of make that parts plural?
Yeah, man.
In a way.
Go ahead.
All right, great. Um, so you know all those kind of little clip pieces, like with the one stud and a clip facing in 20 different directions, because we've got all those variations.
Yeah.
I would like to see various clips and just different connectors like those except instead of the need to place them on top of a stud like you would any other brick, I would like to see the inverse, to where there is a stud on the bottom of them. So like with the 1x1 clip that just you have, the opening for a stud on the bottom and then the clip directly on the top, and there is no stud connection. I would like to see the inverse of that, so that I can plug a stud into the bottom of something else.
Man, that sounds good. I want that.
That sounds insanely useful to me.
Yeah.
And I would love to see stuff like that, because, as someone who refuses to build in strictly system because it's just not my thing. No offense to system,
That's all right.
but
Yeah.
when I'm adding little details of system to my mocks, because I do enjoy doing that, it can sometimes be very frustrating and very difficult to do just based on the connections. And I feel like so many times it would be so useful if I had a stud connection where there wasn't one.
Totally. Yeah. Oh man, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
And I recently saw that piece existing on the Mega Bloks, now Mega Constructs Gyarados set.
Really?
So Mega Bloks has produced this magical, mythical connector piece that I so desperately desire to exist in Lego, and it makes me sad.
Wow. Damn. I remember we spoke about that when I
Yeah.
was on the Gearbox, and how like I don't know, like I think you and Brendan were both like, yeah, I'll pick up that Gyarados. Like that Mega Construct Gyarados looks pretty cool, but I was like, no, it's Mega Construct. I refuse. But I don't know. Now I'm tempted. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, I ended up picking it up, and
Ah.
if you can get past the quality difference in the plastic, there are some very interesting piece designs in there. That particular clip I mentioned included,
Mm.
and a lot of other pieces where, like, a chi slope with the same thing with a stud on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, wow, like, if this existed in Lego, like, imagine the things that you could do with it. Imagine things you could do in just system with it. Like, this would be revolutionary. Like, Lego, where are you? Freaking take notes, man.
Yeah, I want that part. That's cool.
So I'm always a sucker for small Lego pieces in system, just because they're the easier ones to
Mm,
add to Bionicle mocks in general. So the more variants I have on those things, the happier I am.
totally. That's cool. That's really cool. When you wait, so with the Gyarados, you were saying how it has a difference in plastic quality. How different is that to like old day Mega Blocks, where like it would break in your hands sometimes? Well, you know what I mean.
Oh gosh. Okay. So first of all, it is so much better than old day
Okay.
Megalox. Um, so much better. I was not in any way worried about this thing crumbling to bits, and it didn't feel terribly cheap.
Hmm.
You know, it's definitely improved in the quality quite a bit with that. My one gripe with it, um, aside from some of the pieces just being incompatible with Lego in general, just because of minor size differences with the
Uh,
connections. Because I am that guy who will mix brands and knockoffs and stuff,
yeah.
whatever. Um, Aside from that, my one complaint about the quality would be that pretty much once you stick two of those pieces together, oh, you are going to have a hard time getting them apart again.
Wow. Okay.
Like you stick those bricks together and they are pretty much freaking locked. Like, you had better get some pliers or your fingernails are going to be bleeding, because there's no way. Like, you might as well have gorilla glued it in there at that point.
Wow.
Um, a decent part of the Gyarados, because I did steal a few pieces off of it recently, but a decent part of the Gyarados is still together simply because I can't get the damn thing apart
Oh wow.
now.
Okay. Interesting. That's
So yeah, just keep that in mind. Anyone who was thinking about getting a newer Mega Block set, it's there for life.
wow. See, that's interesting because I remember like early Mega Blocks. Like there was one set I bought as a kid, and it was this big cool like dragon temple thing. It was awesome. And I remember you couldn't even really place the pieces on it at times. Like there was a base plate, and you had to put these like big like castle wall parts down, and they wouldn't actually stick. And I remember just being like, "How am I supposed to build this? This makes no sense." Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's
yeah,
almost the
because I
opposite.
I
Yeah.
used to what was it, like Dragons of Ice and Fire or
That's the
something?
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had a ton of those sets as a
Mm.
kid just because, dragons are cool, and my mom not knowing really any better, what's the difference between Mega Bloks and Legos? I don't know. She would just buy me a ton of them because dragons are cool, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I had that castle set that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, those things fell apart all the time. And several of the dragons, their wings just like snapped off at the ball joint for no reason other than it hates
Oh
me.
no.
So yeah, but the quality has definitely improved since
Yeah,
then.
good. Okay. Interesting though that it's like the inverse now. Like it used to not
Yeah,
not go
before
together.
you couldn't get them together, and now you can't get them apart.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, I recently had to help my 4-year-old nephew put together a set that he got for Christmas.
Cool.
Which was just a Halo Mega Block set, like one of the older ones before they changed their name, and just getting this warthog vehicle together for him. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna have to get a hammer just to hammer the damn pieces in. Like it was
Whoa.
so difficult to get those things in there. I'm like, well, you know what? Like this kid is really efficient at breaking every toy you give him. Like there's no way he's breaking this one.
Wow, okay. Interesting. Because I'm playing with the little I had a friend buy me the Mega Construct. Abra, the little with the little Pokeball. Um
Oh yes, I have that one too.
yeah, he's fun to play with. Sometimes I find like I'll try and move the ears or like I'll move the head and it's like, oh, I've killed him, his entire face fell off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he does have that
Yeah, yeah.
problem. I know exactly what you mean, especially the ears.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, those are such interesting sets, especially that they have evolved in a way, but evolved. But like it's still not Lego.
Oh yeah, it's definitely totally different from Lego as a whole. Um, and I still wouldn't use a great amount of the pieces in my builds. Like there's a few of them that I've been eyeballing, and I'm like, I bet I could make this one thing work. But in general, I just wish that Lego would just recreate the pieces in their own system so that I can just use those.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. As I'll answer the question. What was I going to say? Oh, there were two things. The first thing that came to mind was like, well, it's not a particular part that I'd like to see, but it's like colors. Like, I of course want to see more CCBS like shells and things in like cool colors. A la what Bionicle had.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I really wanted, 100% what you said. I'm totally on board with all the stuff you were talking about. But one thing that I constantly find myself wanting is, how do I explain this part? So on some system sets, there's like slidey doors and things, and you get like a 1x4 brick, but the side has like a sort of niche where you can like slide a plate along it. But the
Mm-hmm.
plate that you slide along it is normally like a 1x2 plate, but it's got like a little thing on the edge, which you put into that nit on the brick. And then
Yep.
that same brick is either 1x2 or 1x8, I think, or 1x8 or 6, 8. And I want that 1x2 version with the nit on the side being also on the other side, because one thing you can do with that with system is you can get kind of like 1.5 studs. Whereas that I was like, well, it'd be cool to have it on the other side, so that technically equals the whole size of a traditional plate in 1x2. But then you get you could place it and it be sort of like in between. I feel like I'm explaining this terribly, but I'll try and draw a version of it and like post a photo so that people understand. But that's a
Welcome
part.
to Cossy's art school.
Yeah, yep, yes. You will learn how to draw terrible human hands because I still don't know how to draw this yet. I'm trying. Um,
But your acting skills will be on
there you
point.
go. What other parts do I want? This is an interesting question. I would love a ball joint that doesn't have the cross axle connector and has like a the what is the word? Is it axle? No, not axle. Like a pin. Like it is a pin, isn't it? The other version, like the circle, not the cross.
The round version?
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a pin.
yeah. There you go. That's what I'd like.
I mean, that sounds very cool in theory. I'm not sure how I'd feel about the fact that there would be like free spinning armor potentially as a result of
Oh
that ball
yeah, that's
joint, but
true.
I bet it could work. That's also kind of the problem with like attaching Galador limbs to things
Mm.
because they work on that pin system, and that's what always made it so amazing. Like way back when people would try to use those in mocks, it's like, wow, how'd you get that to stay without his head falling over? But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I can definitely see the potential use for something like
Mm.
that.
Mm. Man, give me like an hour and I'll have like 20 more answers. But I can't think of anything else at the moment for it.
Well, I mean, chances are you could probably go all day about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You could just come up with everything under the sun.
Mm.
Just be like, yeah, I want that in
Yeah,
Lego.
exactly, exactly. I
So,
think we answered that very nicely. Let us move on to the next question, which is by Toa Kobold. Uh, how long did it take for you to be a fully confident mock builder?
I'm not sure if I should classify myself as a fully confident mock builder.
Yeah, right.
Because truth be told, I'm not fully confident, and I'm not sure if there's many people who are. I applaud you if you're one of them, but I feel like to a degree everybody struggles with their, inner critic whenever they're building something, and they've always got that one thing in the back of their head of like, man, why can't I make this better? Or why does nobody like it like this? Or and people don't like this particular texture and this, that, and the other thing. I feel like everybody kind of just has those thoughts when they're building to varying degrees. I see people all the time who they leave comments, and I'm sure their intentions are good, but they'll say something along the lines of like, "Oh wow, this is amazing. I should just give up while I'm ahead." And it's like, no, 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 no. Don't say that. Don't give up.
Yeah,
Don't. It's just like, I know you're just calling it amazing. I appreciate the compliment, but at the same time, like, don't put yourself down just because you think someone's better than
yeah,
you.
exactly. Yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah, I agree with you on that because like I had a in uni, we had to do this university, college, whatever you want to call it. We did a assignment where we all had to. It sounds like such a simple assignment, but it was actually a lot of fun. It was cool. It was like you had to make like 10 art pieces that used your name, and it was like you can branch out, and it's like, well, what does your name actually mean? Like how can that relate to it and stuff. Like it was cool. It was also really interesting, like exploration on self and stuff. It was awesome. And in one class, because we had like however long to work on it, in one class the teachers were like, so this one guy in the other class, let us show you what he did, and they're like, so he's a pilot. He wrote his name in the sky with that like skywriting stuff, and he's like, isn't that really cool? And then there were these people sitting near me, and they're like, why is this guy got to show us up? Like, I may as well just give up now. Like, ba-ba-ding, ba-boom, And I thought exactly what
mhm.
you meant. It's just like, look, it's fair to say that guy has won. Like, no, what a creative genius idea. Very few people can do that. Good on him. But like you can make great ideas too. Like, don't yeah
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And there'll be something you'll do that he'll
Because
look at.
end of the day, you're not that person, and so you're not going to make what that person
Mm.
made, and that's what is good
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
It's good to have that sort of difference there. It's good to have these original creations, whether or not you think that they're totally original.
yeah. Mm.
And so I don't know. I guess to answer the question, um, it's not that I'm necessarily a fully confident Marcus. It's that um, I enjoy what I do, regardless of the outcome and regardless of what others may think of it. And as a result, I'm going to keep doing it. And I think that's how everybody should feel about their hobbies.
Yes. Yeah.
Take it to a serious degree as far as you feel comfortable with taking it. And honestly, end of the day, so long as you're having fun making whatever you're making, who cares what other people think of it?
Mm.
Like, you made something, that's cool, you should be proud of
Yeah,
it.
totally agree. Kind of going off what you said about you, there's always that inner critic and stuff. I think that, like, in my answer to the question, I agree. I really agree with what you were saying. Like, freaking, there's some celebrities like Meryl Streep or I don't know Chris Pratt or whatever, and they'll be all like, so you as an actor, and they'll be like, I'm an actor? Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, okay, if you say so. Like, even though they are at the height of their career, they have like freaking hella Oscars or whatever. They're still like, oh man, I still don't believe like that. I am
Right.
like, I'm just doing whatever the heck. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I think there is an element with art where it is a case of like you just go and you just play and then you just kind of end up with something and you're like, yeah, that's cool, you know. There isn't this element of like, oh, I know what I'm doing now, like, don't know why I was French for that. There you go. Uh, and I guess that for me, and I'm sure they do it as well. The thing of that inner critic, I guess the closest thing you can get to in terms of feeling like a fully confident mockist, whatever, is finding the best ways that you have to shut that inner critic up. In terms of like, yo, I traditionally would berate myself with this, but you know what? I'm actually happy with this. And like, yeah, I may be having some of these thoughts about like, oh no, I'm such a, this is a terrible arm design. Who am I? What am I doing? But you just go like, no, no, that ain't true. Like, I'm happy with this. This is cool. So I guess whenever I was able to kind of shut myself up, shut up my negative thoughts to a degree, but I still have them. You know, it's not like magically it went away. Like they're still there. I'm just able to kind of regulate it, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think a lot of it too just comes from people's natural tendencies to compare.
Yes.
And so whenever there's a community like this online, it's so easy to not only see what other people have made, but then compare what they've made to what you have made. And that can oftentimes, bring people's confidence down. And that just sort of feeds into that inner critic there that really sort of puts a halt on that whole creative process. And it's a vicious cycle, really.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's good to look at people that, you enjoy their works and let it inspire you, but at the same time, it can also do the exact opposite.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, one thing I learned at acting school, which was really cool, was that like in terms of comparing, is it's that thing of like everyone's on their own individual journey. Like you could look at someone and just be like, you know, we've both been studying for a year, let's say, and you look at this one guy and you're like, why is it that they are years ahead of me? Like, oh my god, they've been, you know, like technically we've been doing the exact same thing. Why am I so behind or whatever? And it's like, well, no, you're not actually behind. Like you have things that you excel at that they don't, or you have things that um you know you've been learning less of. Like maybe they've had a year before you and they've sort of picked those things up through this life experience or whatever. Like everyone's on their own journey and you should never judge like where you are because where you are currently is where you need to be, you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and it doesn't mean that it's never going to change either. It's not like anyone woke up one day and was just able to miraculously perform miracles.
Yeah.
Like people spend years doing things like performing or painting or in some cases mocking,
Mm.
and so it's definitely a skill that requires time and effort and practice to really get anywhere with.
Yeah. And the annoying thing is we live in an age where with social media and stuff, there's so much instant gratification and like I want it now and I can get it now. Where kind of really defining any skill or being able to sort of perfect something like practice makes perfect or whatever. It's not that like you know there's all this stupid stigma of like millennials are entitled and blah. Like we grew up in an age where it was so easy to get instant gratification. Like it's just the way we were raised. Like it's so ingrained in us. Like it can be really difficult to not expect something to just be given to you or whatever. And like you need
Right.
to kind of you know like learn like the importance of yeah delayed gratification and know that like yeah practice makes perfect. If you're not good now, ah well you will be in the future. You've made that one step ahead to get better for next time. Yeah.
Exactly. With each thing that you create, whether or not you make notice a difference, it is experience towards that
Mm,
skill.
exactly.
So, yeah, in the end, it's all for good, and if you enjoy what you're doing, then keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Nice. Nailed it. Um, next question. This is by Bricks22. What is a color combination you'd like to see on a mock?
It's interesting because like I'm not even sure how to answer this question anymore because I feel like every time I think, oh wow, wouldn't that be a neat color combination? Onuku just like ups and does it, like he's just like reading my mind or something. Like no, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
whenever the elves dragons like made it big and that lavender color was like huge, I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. Like, what could I pair that with? And I'm like, how weird would it be to put it with like orange or something? And then he just cranks out this mock with lavender and dark orange, and I'm just like, okay, all right, this is scary. Good on you, Onuku. That actually looks really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some color schemes that I'm just a sucker for, no matter how overused it is. But at the same time, I love to see obscure things like that you just wouldn't really expect to see or even think to see.
Yeah.
So pretty much take any two rare colors and mash them together, and that's something I'd want to see just for the sake of seeing if it works.
Yeah. I guess with rare colors, you opened up a few additional thoughts in my head there, because I was going to just say, like, well, we've got teal back. It'd be nice to see some mocks using the newer teal parts, and then even cooler to be seeing them matched with, like, more recent colors. Like, I don't know, teal and olive green would be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
So something like that, just playing with new colors, or even just seeing, and I know we've got a lot of them, but even just seeing mocks that use more friends colors in them, always is cool to see.
Yeah, I would like to see that sort of off-color mint green color.
Yeah.
I would love to see that used more because I feel like that's horribly underused in mocks.
Totally, I agree with you there, yeah. But I guess if we're talking about really rare colors, I'd love to see sand red or sand purple on a mock, because they don't even make that color anymore.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like what Brendan did recently.
On which one?
Factory?
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it?
That four-legged robot girl with the sand purple.
Yes, yeah.
And the sand green at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was honestly amazing.
Yeah.
Like, not only did he use sand purple, but he used sand green on the same mock. I'm like, you're freaking insane.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he did it and he pulled it off, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That is really cool. Yeah, I want to see more stuff like that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Those sand colors, I mean, they're so nice too. Like, I'm upset that they discontinued it, really.
Yeah, right? And I mean, I guess there's hope with, oh, I don't know if I put this in a podcast. Aha! So, I was at Brickvention in Melbourne, and there was this guy who was talking, and he's like, he's a massive collector with Lego, and he likes to collect sort of like misprinted or mismolded or prototype parts and stuff. And when Lego announced the Downtown Diner modular set, the most recent one, the cool one, that has all the teal in it, there was a video that they did. Either it was just before or just after or when they announced it, but there's a little side shot where it's just on a desk that some guy's creating on it, like Lego HQ or wherever it is. And there's this little like color palette of just 1x2 plates in every color that they exist in. And that's cool to see, but the coolest thing is just next to that is all of those colors in trans, and then just next to that is all of those colors in trans with glitter through them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and about...
I would die.
Yeah. And about maybe 70% of them don't exist. And they're like...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I would die. You know, trans colors, that's amazing. Trans colors with glitter?
Yeah.
Yes, take all my money.
So he was saying how, with the fact that teals come back, and then seeing that sort of hidden away in the background, who knows what else we're going to get? Like, maybe we will get sand red coming back, and the return of sand purple or glitter colors.
That would be great.
Yeah. So, next question, which is by Mitch Henry CZQ, our good friend. What's a non-Bionicle theme that you like to use in your mock? Now, I don't know if that's how he typed it or if I mistyped that, but I assume what he means by that is, like, would you make a non-Bionicle themed mock of, like, Exoforce, or would you use specific elements from another theme in Bionicle that you otherwise wouldn't normally, I guess? I don't know, does that question make sense to you?
No, it does. Okay. I mean, when it comes to purchasing non-Bionicle themes, I'm always looking at the sets and thinking, how can I use this in my Bionicle mock? So, yeah. I mean, it's not too often that I look at the set and I buy it for the set. I can really only say that about, like, the Saturn V I've got sitting up there, and now the whim of NASA going with it because I'm a space nerd. Nice. But I don't know. Whenever I buy sets, I look at it not only in terms of coolness factor, but how can I potentially use this in a mock factor. And considering I don't do terribly much system-related stuff, it's a bit hard to answer. Although, not too long ago, I did purchase an insectoids set, and I built a mecha out of it. So that was a nice kind of break from my usual thing, if that counts.
I remember that, Mark. That was fun. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to try something different for once, and yeah, I did it with a couple of different themes. I did it with the Ice Planet, and I did it with Classic Space too, but I haven't finished the Classic Space one yet.
Mm.
I still need to grab a couple parts off Bricklink for that one, but it's just kind of a fun little breakaway from my usual type of building, as well as basing it around different themes than just Bionicle. So I hope that answers the question.
I think you did. I think I was. Yeah, awesome.
Hooray.
I guess, like, to answer it, if it was about, what themes would you like to build in? I really want to build, was it like Adventures Explorers, all the like Johnny Thunder stuff, like the old pretending to be Indiana Jones Lego theme that, yeah,
Yes.
I want to build,
Yes, yes,
yeah, I want to
yes.
build stuff like that. Probably I wouldn't build a Bionicle in that regard, because, like, I don't know, that might be a bit difficult. But I mean, a Bionicle Johnny Thunder would be cool. um, but more just like a fun system mock,
I found the blimp piece not too long ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was I came across a bin while I was cleaning out a storage
Yeah.
closet that just I guess it was the one bin that got away. It was the one bin that I apparently never sorted and never knew existed, because it was just loaded with random bricks of all types, and that blimp was in there, and I'm like, "Oh, so this is where you've been all this
Oh my
time."
god. That's like,
So now
oh,
I've got it sitting over there with the rest of my Lego, just chilling, being a blimp.
wow. That's like $50 or something. It's ridiculous on Bricklink.
Oh, I love that blimp. I love that set.
Great set.
Great set.
Yeah. Man, I'm jealous. I want that. That's cool.
Fond memories.
Yeah.
See, this is why I never get rid of Lego. Never. Never
Mm.
ever. Because what happens is that people, like Brendan, for example, like oh, I'm a Bionicle Marcus, I'm never going to use system. And what does he do? He gets rid of all of his system. And who's regretting it now? Him.
Nice. Nice.
I'm like, see, this is why you hold on to shit. This is why I'm a pack
Yeah,
rat.
yeah, yeah. That's good. I like your thinking. Yeah, yeah. Also, just with what you were saying, because I built a classic space mock a while back. I still love him so much. It's one of my favorite mocks. I wanted to do the equivalent with like Ice Planet as well. So I would probably steal your thing there of making an Ice Planet themed like Bionicle mock.
Oh, you're not stealing my thing. I'm sure plenty of people have done it
Yeah.
before.
Well, I think Huge Bricks actually inspired me because he did like an Ice Planet like girl mock.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. He has done stuff like that.
mm. Actually, he did a lot. He did like a Blacktron one as well, and others as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a Blacktron, an Ice Planet, and maybe there was a Rock Raiders. I don't
I
remember.
think there was, yeah. If it wasn't him, I know someone else did a mock like that. I mean, it must have been Huge Bricks, yeah. Rock Raiders is another one. I'd want to build.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Rock Raiders mock was him or someone doing it in his style. I really don't know, but
Mm. Ask Brendan, because I
pretty sure
know
it was.
he one day just like linked me to it. Like, somebody built a Rock Raiders mock, because he knows that we both love Rock Raiders. So, ask him, he might remember.
Yeah, probably.
And I think that answers that question. So I don't know. I think this is the fourth one now. I can't remember how many we've answered. But I reckon we do two more, and then we'll be good. So
All right, sounds good to me.
this next one is from Sprog101.
Yeah, Sprog.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my bro.
Nice, nice.
Hello, Sprog.
His question is: best price you've gotten on a flea market, garage sale, or secondhand Lego/Bionicle set?
Oh, this one's hard. This one's honestly hard.
Do you want me to answer? Because I already got mine.
Yeah, you go first. I'll think about
Yeah,
mine.
cool. I have a few. I went to Merca not long ago and went
Merca.
went to heaps of Goodwills and found heaps. And got lots of good bargains. So like one thing I found this like RC Technic car from like 2000. Really cool set, and it still works, which is awesome. It doesn't work very well, but it does move. I found that for $5, and when I looked it up on Bricklink, it's worth like 200, and I was like, whoa! So that was cool. My dad found a Tower Bridge set at a Goodwill for like 80, 90, which is a lot, but like it's 400 Australian dollars, so like that's like a fourth of the price, so that's pretty good. But one of the things that always stays in my mind is like the best deal I ever got. It was again in America, of course it was. we just don't get clearance on Lego here. It sucks. Anyway, I was at Barnes and Noble of all places. It was really funny because I was hanging out with my friend in America, and his mum was like, "You want to go to Barnes and Noble? Why?" I'm like, "Well, sometimes they have Lego," and she's like, "No, just like stay here." And I'm like, "Nah, like I'll go." And it wasn't like I don't want to hang out with you. It was just like I don't know. I have a good feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about it. Sorry, I watched a lot of Star Wars. I just had to quote it. Anyway, so I went to Barnes and Noble and I was just looking around, and then there was this like clearance bin, and there were 3 Hobbit sets in there. And that was when the American dollar was like hella good, and it was essentially like $1 Australian for $1 American. So buying any set there was essentially like buying it half off. So looking at the Hobbit sets, it was essentially already half off what I would have paid in Australia. And then on top of that, they were like, oh, 50% off all this stuff. So I got 50% off, 50% off in a way. I know that's bad maths, but it was like, yeah, it was pretty good. I remember buying all 3 of them and just being like, oh my god, this is so good. And like, to this day, I don't think a single piece remains like in a bin that I haven't used from those sets, because those sets are incredible for parts. It was a good time. So I would probably say that.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna start this off with a quick one because
Nice.
it doesn't really apply to the question because it wasn't like a Goodwill or a yard sale or anything. But there was one time where shopping around Walmart with Brendan, we saw some 2015 Bionicle sets. It just marked as clearance.
Oh.
Put it in one of those price scanner things, and there was a Tahu for $2.
What?
So we picked up there was a Tahu for $2 and there was an Onua for $4. And so we picked those up immediately. But
how
that's probably the biggest
wow.
discount I've ever seen in a retail store in my life.
Yeah. How was that like how long ago was that in relation to 2015? Was that like a year after, or was that like really recently?
I think that was probably about a year after because
Wow.
Bionicle hadn't been canceled yet at the time. So
Wow.
it was probably during the 2016 wave that those things were being clearanced out there. And
That's even more insane.
$2 Tahoe. I don't know.
Wow.
It's just I don't know what people were thinking, but whatever. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't gonna leave that one behind. But all I can think about is again with Brendan, we were at a flea market and just got this huge tub of just various Lego for like 15 or $20, and it seems like a lot, but the crap that was in it was so worth it. Like in it was that whole space station from the Mars missions that had those sand colors in it.
Nice.
That he then used on that factory mock, so that was really valuable. And there was that I can't remember the name of it, but the tan and green droid Technic set Star Wars guy.
The pit droid?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Most of that guy was in there. There was just a lot of old system and old Technic sets in there, and there was like parts of one of the Borak queens in there, and just fun stuff. Just really fun stuff.
Very cool.
And so it was totally worth it in the end because he got a bunch of rare pieces and I got a bunch of old Technic stuff I never had. So it was a win-win.
Very cool. That's awesome. Nice. Sweet. So, thank you, Sprog. Next question, and final question. What do you recommend... Oh, this is by Toa Vendetta. What do you recommend for bio rookies like me to get better at mocking?
So is that a V for Vendetta?
Yes.
I feel like this ties into what we were talking about earlier about the whole confidence thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we went quite a bit into just practicing and just trying to hone your skill and having the patience for it and whatnot. So I guess in terms of trying to improve, I would just say to look at what inspires you, whether it be someone else's creations or something completely different, and just, try to make the best you can make with that sort of inspiration, I mean, if there's a certain mock style or artist that you really like and you admire and you want to be like them, well, there's really no harm in feeling inspired by them to try to make something like they would make. There really isn't.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I mean, I know some people in the community will get all nitpicky about, like, oh, you're trying to steal my design, you're just trying to steal my character, and, like, wow, it looks like X person's mock, which is lame because it's just kind of discouraging people. But personally, I feel as though that's not really a huge issue as people make it out to be when it comes to that.
Yeah. See, I remember in the old days, I used to kind of be in that camp of like, you should, blah blah or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I was in
Yeah,
that camp
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. But then, like, when I went to uni and like started studying art and stuff, holy, like, the amount of artists that just blatantly steal off of people, and like, it's just the fact that it's like, oh well, this guy was inspired by this guy, and it's like, oh yeah, cool, okay, and like, no one goes there and they're like, that's plagiarism, that's not okay, unless like it's blatantly the same image. But
Yeah, it's like nobody has a like frickin' trademark on their like brushstroke, you know.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, so I don't know. I've taken a few art courses as well at university, and you really do start to realize just how silly it can be
mm,
to be so adamant about it.
yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're not blatantly stealing like the exact thing,
Mm.
you're not stealing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And especially like even like you were saying, like looking back on history, how some people would like sue people because they're like, this art is a disgrace and like it's so against the norm and how dare you? And it's like, wow, really? Like you're gonna sue someone because of that? Like,
You're gonna sue someone because you don't like their art.
yeah, exactly. Like, it is, and then there's all this like stuff about like high art and low art of like, oh, this art is more significant than your like crappy art. And it's like, really? No, every art is
Uh,
just as valid. Like, friggin' the amount of times that I've looked at something where someone could classify it as a bad mark, and I've gone, no, man, that inspired me. Like, look at that one thing. That's cool. Like, nah. Or I see really like everyone is in love with this mark, and I look at it and I go like, and I mean that's not to discredit either side or either builder. It's just it's subjective. It is what it is.
yeah, yeah, and the end of the day, I feel like people are just so they could be very protective about it, and I understand why they are, because they feel like something that they put effort into is being either stolen or misused. So I understand where it's coming
Oh
from,
yeah.
but at the same time, there was literally a point in history here where somebody threatened to get a lawyer on me because I apparently used their design without permission.
Oh wow.
And this was like way, way back in like the old BioTube days when people were really hardcore about it.
Yeah.
And whether or not I quote unquote stole their design, I don't even remember what it was at this point.
Mm.
But you gotta admit, calling a lawyer on someone over that is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. There you go. Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I feel like we deviated from the question quite a bit
That's true.
here.
That's true. I guess the answer, I don't know. I agree with Molly. Like a lot of what we've said already is pretty relevant to that. I've said this before. I'll say again. It's always good to, like Molly said, yeah, try out what other people have done. Heck, even blatantly copy a mock, but don't post it and pretend it's yours. Just to learn, you know, how someone's built stuff.
Or post it anyway, because I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
not to encourage bad behavior, but there's been so many times when people have posted mocks that are just straight up a recolor, piece for piece
yeah. Right.
of something I have built. Like I saw that at Brick Fair 2016. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the Gearbox podcast
Oh,
afterwards.
that's
Is
right.
that there was straight up an Alieraah there, just slightly different colors, just the same exact mock.
Yeah. Wow.
And I don't know if I ever got a chance to talk to the person who made it,
Yeah.
but I wasn't even mad about it or anything. If anything, I thought it was kind of funny
Yeah.
and somewhat flattering because it's like this
Yeah.
person thought that my build was so good that they wanted one for themselves. So like I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just don't get too stressed over it. If you're inspired by something, then take the inspiration and run with it. And back to what Ben was saying about art and art school and whatnot too, is that artists use references. They use what other people have made and they use what they've studied from real life to create things. Nothing is ever made out of just complete solitude with no external forces and just one's brain. It doesn't work that way. So use the resources you have and just, strive to improve in the way you want to based on those inspirations.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about all I got to say on that one.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah. Otherwise, shameless self-plug, just watch my videos. I talk about that stuff a lot, so. Anyway, alright. I think that's good. I mean, I still have hella questions left in the bank, but we'll get to those in the future, unless you want to keep going. But, yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know, we've already been going for over an hour on this raw recording here, so
Yeah.
I think we've had a fair bit of talking for today.
I think so. I think we did good. So,
Yeah.
Miss Marley, where can people find you online if they wish to find you?
Oh boy. Well, breaking news, everyone. My YouTube channel is back from the dead.
Yeah.
So, you can find me there again now.
Mm-hmm.
Flickr, DeviantArt, Tumblr, Instagram, those are kind of and Twitter, I guess. I always forget Twitter. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I always forget Twitter. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of the big main places that I'm, in general, most active on, so... And all of them have the username Alieraah, so yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to find, I think.
Sounds easy to me. Yeah, check Alieraah out. And thank you very much for being on the podcast. It was great to have a nice chat.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. I suppose that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Yeah.